All right, everyone. Welcome to Vista Center's Tech It Out. My name is Ryan, and I'll be your host for today's presentation. I'm excited that you all have joined us today. We are recording today's meeting. If you do not want to be recorded, you can turn off your camera or you can exit the Zoom meeting. In a couple of weeks, today's recording will be available on our website at vistacenter.org or under the under accessible technology and then Tech It Out. It will also be uploaded to our YouTube channel, so be sure to check it out and give us a like and a follow while you're there. Let me see here real quick. And we hold these meetings monthly. The first Friday of every month, unless otherwise specified, at 10 a.m. As an attendee today, your name will be on our Tech It Out email list, and you'll receive a meeting announcement 1 or 2 weeks prior to each meeting. For today's presentation, I've muted everyone, but during the Q&A, if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand, and I'll call on the people in the order of their hands raised. When I call on you, you'll need to unmute yourself. We'll go over some Zoom meeting shortcuts here. For a PC, Alt plus Y is to raise and lower your hand. Alt plus A is to mute and unmute the audio. Also, holding down the space bar temporarily unmutes yourself, and then once it's released, it'll automatically mute yourself again. On a Mac, it's Option plus Y is to raise and lower your hand, and Command plus Shift plus A to mute and unmute your audio. And on a phone, star 9 is to raise and lower your hand. Star 6 is to toggle mute and unmute, and that's for the phone. And then without further delay, I would like to introduce Nathan from Lighthouse Tech, presenting the Tami glasses. Nathan, go ahead.
Hi Ryan. Thanks very much for having me here. It feels like it hasn't been very long. I was actually in San Jose a few weeks back, and since then I've been home. Now I'm in Toronto. I was just mentioning, but nice to meet everybody here. And I don't know, but it's possible that I actually met you in person while I was in San Jose. Some of you, if you were present. Unfortunately, I can't remember the exact day that was, but I'm here as a representative and co-founder of a company that's based in Switzerland, and we make a device which is smart glasses for obstacle detection. So let me go through take a minute just to explain more about where we come from and why we started this project. And then I'll explain what our device does, who it's for, and what you might expect to get out of it while wearing it. And then we'll get into availability, and I'll be happy to take all of your questions. So, Ryan, just quickly, how long would a good sort of talking period be?
Sure. So we have up until honestly 11:30, but we have plenty of time to just present. If that's 15, 20 minutes or more, that's fine. And then we can do some Q&A afterwards. So whatever flows for you is just fine.
Okay, perfect. So I'll get into some of the details, and then I guess I'll stop when I'm tired of hearing my own voice. But I'll give you some enough background sort of to get you started, to get you going. Okay, so first, I'm with a company. It's a startup company. It's quite small at the moment. It's called Lighthouse Tech, not the lighthouse like Lighthouse for the Blind San Francisco. The founders are based out of the eyewear industry. So Um, the company came out of an idea around fashion eyewear. And the founders themselves had our sighted founders. We don't have direct, let's say, disability experience in the founding team, but our original sort of idea came out of interactions that happen around low vision optometry, and eventually leading to wondering what blind people or people who are severely vision impaired might want out of glasses. And this was all around 2020, just before 2020. So we're going back to COVID. We're going back to pre-Meta, I guess, the pre-Meta glasses period. So the world was really a different place back then, but it was also a place to start to think about what to do with wearable technologies and what it might offer to people in their everyday lives. And just for full clarity and transparency, we started out sort of in an exploratory phase, and we weren't looking necessarily to work with blind people, with associations and organizations initially. This is sort of part of a journey that we ended up taking and ended up there. And we're still working on it, but we do have a product that is on the market. So what I'm talking to you about today is a product that you can touch, feel, and buy on the market. And we've just started to make our way into the US. We've been selling in Europe so far. So I mentioned company name is Lighthouse Tech. You can find us at www.lighthousetech.ch. So lighthousetech.ch. And I'll mention that again at the end of the talk, just to make sure, if you didn't get a chance to get that down, and I'm sure we can share that with you as well via email. So I mentioned we're based in Switzerland. We're based in the southern part of Switzerland, which is somewhere between Milan, which is sort of the fashion capital, and Zurich, which is the tech capital. So we have access to both of those worlds in terms of what we're designing. The Ray-Ban Meta glasses, for instance, they're also headquartered in Italy, in Milan. They have their design and development, all their technology sort of comes out of there, plus the fashion bit. The difference really, I think it's easiest to start with Ray-Ban Meta because it's a product that many people are already have tried or have heard about. So I would say let's start there. Ray-Ban Meta is a camera audio glass with AI. It has, for most people, good fit. It feels good. It feels light enough weight to wear around for the day. And it can take prescription lenses. It has a couple of options in terms of lens options. And it's got the camera on the front and speakers on the arms. So Tami, the difference is we're an electronic travel aid. We use sensors that are not camera sensors. They're radar sensors. So at the core, what we have is a radar sensor, which you can think of it's sort of like ultrasound, but it's shooting around, it's basically shooting electromagnetic waves at 60 gigahertz into a space in front of the person who's wearing it. And those waves reach an object and bounce back and then are captured by those sensors again. So that's sort of the definition of what an electronic travel aid is. And some other examples of electronic travel aids that are not in glasses would be like the WeWalk or the Ultra Cane, which have ultrasonic sensors mounted in a white cane handle. There's also a couple of other things that you can find that are handheld in Europe. And there's also one called the GDP Research Mini Guide, which is a handheld that I believe should be available in America. Sometimes you'll also find smartphone apps that use the LiDAR and camera in an iPhone, and you can get a wearable holster, wear it in front of you, and you can get some information about what's in front of you. So it has an obstacle detector functionality in it. Okay, so what did we want to do in coming up with our design? We wanted to build this into a pair of eyewear frames because that means you're wearing it, there's nothing extra to carry or hold. It doesn't bulk up the white cane handle, and it frees your hands. In order to get this to be, a nice small aid, and there are some examples of some pretty bulky devices out there that do, they have big roles to play, sometimes bigger roles in terms of mobility, in that they do more. We sort of believe less is more here, and that's the feedback that we initially got. What we aim to do is cover the upper body zone, so chest and head height. And in that sense, it's by definition a secondary mobility aid. It's meant to work alongside a cane or a guide dog, and to not replace either one. It's going to sense upper body obstacles, so things at head height, could be tree branches, open windows, a truck mirror, as well as things like street poles, walls, other landmarks that you might want to try to find rather than avoid. And it will give you that information about what's in front of you with vibration. It's not going to tell you exactly what's in front of you, so it's not going to classify those objects and tell you in front of you you have a chair or in front of you you have a sign. It's simply going to vibrate at different frequencies depending on the distance to the object in front of you. So if you're 8 feet away, you should expect to hear the first vibrations, to feel the first vibrations. And as you get closer to the object, so about 5 feet away, those vibrations start to quicken, and then you'll get a sensation that you're approaching the object. You'll also get a sensation that the object is to the right or left or centered in front of you, depending on which eyewear arm vibrates. So if I were to describe the glasses to you, it has a regular fashion eyewear front, and that part is interchangeable, so you can get different sizes, shapes, and colors. And you may also interchange the lenses depending on your preference or your needs. The arms contain all the electronics, so they're a bit bulkier than a regular eyewear arm. They have buttons on the top, and the buttons are for changing modes and for turning the device on and off. On the underside, you have a charging port, which is magnetic. So the cable that it comes with has a magnetic connector on one side, and it has a USB connector on the other side for a regular wall connector. Towards the back of the glasses, you have a flexible ear temple tip that fits over the ear, and you can adjust that. It has a steel core, so you can adjust that to make sure that it fits you well. And above that, there's a protruding node, which has a vibration motor in it, and that sits up and away from the ear in a place on your head that's relatively insensitive. And that's, based on testing, we wanted to make sure that the vibration that you feel is comfortable, and that it doesn't, that you can wear it for a reasonably long period of time without it starting to feel awkward or disturb you. The reason that we keep everything together in one place, so vibration and sensors, is that we've understood that it's intuitive to use, where the sensing and the feedback are close together. It helps you to understand better what's in front of you. The positioning of the vibration sensors again helps you understand whether the object is off to the left, right, or center. And it also helps the front of the glasses not to vibrate, so it's a bit of isolation of that vibration. What you should actually feel is as you approach an obstacle from a distance, you'll initially feel sort of the vibration is pulsing, so you get zit, 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 this feeling. And as you approach the obstacle and get within that about 5 foot range, it changes to zit, 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 zit. So you'll actually feel it like, I suppose you could compare it to a parking sensor on a car as the car is reversing or moving forward towards an object. It's that kind of principle that we'd be working with. I mentioned that it has two modes. So it has something that would be more appropriate for outdoor walking speed, for objects that you want to get warned with some distance in front of you. That goes up to about 8.5 feet, I mentioned. And there's also a mode that you can switch to using a press, and that will help you to change to a mode which is closer. So up to about 5 feet. I was 4.5 to 5 feet, I believe. I'm just converting from meters in my head, but that would get you a little bit more comfort in spaces that are narrower, that are perhaps indoors, perhaps around people, where you are not so worried about what's happening 8 feet away from you, but you're worried, you want to sort of not get bugged by stuff that's not as relevant to you in that particular situation. And you can switch between the two modes, as I mentioned, with a button press, and that will help you to understand, what's in your immediate surroundings versus what's further away, depending on the situation. Because it's head mounted, I mentioned some of the kinds of obstacles that it would help to avoid. It helps for some of the obstacles that the cane can miss. For example, the low-hanging branches in the springtime, for instance, or cabinet doors, signage. And also sometimes we've heard about missed cane sweeps, or simply just being able to sense something before the cane hits it, or being able to navigate in spaces where you may not want to use your cane for that purpose. One of our users, for example, Matteo, describes walking down a hall in a hotel room and not wanting to knock on each door with his cane before he gets to his room. So he thought that was kind of a nice use. It can also be used for queuing. So some of our users talk about using it for waiting in lines and making sure that you know when the line is moving forward. That would be a perfect example of the short range indoor mode. Okay, so briefly, who is it for? It's for, I think, people who are interested in experimenting with their mobility skills, maybe going a bit further. And it can also be nice for people who have uh, maybe some limited cane training, who want just an extra layer of feedback. We've heard about both of these use cases. We don't have any guide dog users at the moment, but we've had some interest from guide dog users. I would expect that we could get some more feedback there as well. So most of the users are cane travelers, and at the moment we have about 100 people walking around with this device. I mentioned that we just started selling in Europe, so it's quite new to the market. And we have a couple of people in the US who have had some experience with it, and some orientation and mobility specialists who are looking at it right now as well. So let me sort of conclude my presentation at this point, and I would like to open the floor up to any of your questions that you might have, and I'm happy to stick around and answer them.
Thank you so much. That was perfect, Nathan. Um, so I want to open the floor up, yes, to questions. Does anyone have any questions? Currently, I don't see any hands raised. Feel free to, oh, Emerson, go ahead.
Hi Nathan, my name is Emerson. So I have a question. Do the glasses need to be charged, and how long can the glasses be used before it needs to be recharged?
Okay, thanks for asking that. That's some very important information that somehow I managed to leave out. It takes about 4 hours to charge, so you would leave the glasses charging overnight. We want to get maximum life out of our batteries long term. That's the reason we've left it like that. And it gives you 4 hours of use. So between 4 and 5 hours, I would say, depending on how much vibration you're getting from the glasses. And that's continuous use with the radar going. So in normal in a normal use case, what we're finding is people are telling us that they're charging the glasses once every couple or several days in their regular routine.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Emerson.
Beautiful. Thanks, Emerson. Good question. Does anyone else have any other questions? Heidi, go ahead.
Hi, Nathan. This is Heidi. Question about the size of the obstacle detected, and does it only vibrate when the obstacle is possibly in the collision path?
Yes, thanks, Heidi. I appreciate your very Swiss name.
I don't look Swiss though, honestly.
Okay. So the question was about the size of the obstacle and whether you would expect it only to vibrate in your path. Two also questions that I should have mentioned in the presentation. We've tested this down to obstacles that are like a tree branch that's about let's say 2.5 inches in diameter at about I believe 5 feet. At 5 feet, that kind of obstacle will be detected. So you wouldn't be able to detect a full range of obstacles up to 8 feet, simply because some of them are quite small. The smaller the obstacle, the less of the chance of it being recognized as a true obstacle by the radar. And there's also some material sensitivity. So metal is easier to detect than wood. It detects smaller leafy branches better than dry wood branches. It will also have trouble with things like fabrics. So you may find, a curtain is not going to set it off until the last minute. But some kinds of obstacles that we've been asked about as well, that other systems have trouble with, would be, for instance, glass and transparent surfaces. Those are detected by Tami. So the radar sensors will bounce off glass without any trouble. It will work in any light level, so right from very, very bright sunlight down to complete darkness, so it's unaffected by light. It's also unaffected by humidity levels, unlike ultrasound, and it can deal with rain and snow without causing unwanted vibrations, because sometimes it can all devices will also pick up heavy rain, sort of raindrops. In terms of how wide it is, in the long range mode, it's narrower. So it will only give you vibration for obstacles that are in front of you, not left and right. And in the short range mode, it will give you about 120, 130 degrees, and it will signal right, left, and both. So right, left, and center for obstacles that are around you. So again, there's these two modalities, and they have some difference also in terms of their performance, in terms of the narrower field and the longer range zone, mode. And the reason for that is that we wanted less distraction for things on the sides. That said, there are definitely use cases we've heard of in terms of shorelining objects like fences and walls. So in those cases, you may want to feel the effect of the vibration to one side as you're walking along a wall. And we've heard that is desirable for many of the users who are out there using this. Also, just sort of feeling people approach from different sides. You'll also sort of get a 3D effect as they pass in front of you. So that's something that people have told us is kind of nice. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you. That was very thoroughly. I especially like you mentioned that it tells you where exactly the object's coming and if it's passing by. That's pretty amazing. Well, you mentioned that this is an upper body sensor. How high does it go and how low does it go?
Yeah, so it typically will pick up stuff that's in the head and chest area. So it's not going to go low enough to pick up something like a table, like a low table. It's also limited in terms of height, so it will go slightly above your head, but not too much so that you're picking up things that you don't really care about because they're too high. So we've noticed in some cases, so again, like, there's some kinds of obstacles that really reflect very, very well. So if you have a pipe, a steel pipe that's horizontal, for instance, that is up above your head, maybe 2 feet above your head, as you're walking towards it, 3 feet above your head, in the long range mode, sometimes you'll get a vibration for that. We angled the sensors a little bit downwards to try to avoid that as much as possible, but they're reasonably wide because we want to be able to pick up as much as we can and cover the upper body zone. Yeah, so you can also think of it, it's not like a cone emitting from the front, but it's more like a teardrop shape or a lobe shape. So even if you get out fairly far in front of the sensor, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to widen out so far you're going to pick up things on the ground. You'll get the ground if you look down. So if you're holding your head inclined downwards, yes, you can pick up lower obstacles, but you would have to be looking for them.
Got it. Thank you. That was very thorough explanation. Thank you.
Thanks.
I will tell you that I had the privilege of utilizing the Tami glasses when Nathan was here presenting in person, and we had give or take 5 pairs that the in-person clients here on Wednesday were able to trial, and a lot of really wonderful feedback. The glasses themselves worked really, really well. They were able to and we were in the very large auditorium. And so with that larger space, two things that stood out is when the folks were navigating around the auditorium, they could easily detect if something was in front of them, obviously, but more specifically, it was when another person was in front of them. And they would, as they're moving side to side, the vibration would change to, as they're passing the person, it would change from having the two temple arms vibrating to having just one side to having none, knowing that as you're passing them, you're missing them, which is pretty neat. And then the other thing was to locate, because the auditorium's a larger space, to locate like the walls, so that once you find the walls, folks that utilize canes or even just, folks with low vision find, a wall, and then they'll help navigate because they know once they reach a specific door count or frame, a door frame, or whatever the case may be, that helps them reorient themselves. And so it was really helpful with being able to quickly, I guess you would say orient yourself within a large open space. So that was really neat. Bob, go ahead. I see that you have your hands raised.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Nathan, for being here today. I appreciate your presentation. Is there any sensitivity adjustment to them? Like, if you wanted to not have things go off, at the preset distance, can you adjust the sensitivity in any way with the glasses?
Okay, so thanks, Bob. I think there's probably a two-part answer to this, but first I'm going to bring up an app that we've created. The device itself is standalone. You can buy it and use it to its full potential as an obstacle detector without ever having to connect it to the telephone and the internet and so on and so forth. It requires no connection, but you can download and connect your glasses to the app. The app is called Tami Guide. It's available both on the Apple and the Android stores. It supports adjustment of fundamentally two different parameters. So one is the distance thresholds. You can take your short range and your long range modes separately and decide how far in front of you you want to be able to feel the vibration. So that's a tuning to personal preference. The other parameter that you can adjust is the vibration level. So you can choose one of 4 levels based on your personal preference, and set that up globally for the glasses, and it will save those settings for you. Potentially you would use the app to do the setup once and for all, and then move forward from there. But it also allows you to sort of experiment as you go forward. In terms of sensitivity to the obstacles themselves, that's a fixed parameters. So we don't allow you to adjust the sensitivity to of the radar sensor in itself. It will always have the same capacity for detection of all types of obstacles.
Thank you. And is there any time delay built into it? I'm thinking, so if I'm, walking down the street and I'm looking straight ahead and it's detecting things at 6 foot, 8 foot, or whatever, but then I just quickly turn my head to the side and bring my head back straight. Is it going to immediately alert me to if when I turned my head if there's something in that direction that I'm looking at, or is there a little bit of a time delay that you have to stay focused in a particular direction for any duration of time?
Yeah, so there is a slight time delay. The time delay is going to be about 120 or 130 milliseconds. And that's in most cases, that would be the maximum. That's based on the sort of the length of the pulsation. We coordinate the pulsation between the two different sides, meaning that if you turn your head, you won't get an asynchronous pulsation between one side and the other because that would be difficult to interpret. The sensors themselves are very quick, so they're pulling every 33 milliseconds, which is fairly quick, and they're picking up obstacles, and the calculations are very quick thereafter. So there's sort of a minimal delay you can expect. You can also expect a slight delay if you turn your head quickly away from the obstacle. We keep the vibration going for a slight bit afterwards, just in case you missed it. And that's just, for us, that's a small safety feature, just to give you a little bit more rather than less feedback. But again, we're sort of happy to hear differences in opinion about, what's needed and wanted. But thanks, Bob.
Sure. Thank you very much. And again, I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Perla, I see that you have your hand raised. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, this question may have come up because I just got reconnected. Can you wear a hat with a wide brim with these glasses and still get the same effect?
Hi, Perla. Yes, that's a great question. We've designed it so that there's a little bit of a buffer zone around your face, and the radar sensor in itself can go through some of those materials like a hat. So I mentioned light fabric. That's something that is not blocked directly by the radar. So if you're wearing a hat with a brim, we've tested this with baseball hats as well as sort of sun hats. Hard for me to describe all the different shapes, but it shouldn't set off the vibration. And in addition, the sensing should be able to go through that light material if it happens to be slightly covering the sensors, so that you still would get a warning for an object that's beyond the hat in case. And also, long hair in front of the sensors is also not picked up. So that's something that you can use it for. In addition, I'll just go on to mention a couple of other use cases that we've understood. If you're using an umbrella, if you're holding the umbrella in a way that it's covering everything, and especially with those metal rods that some umbrellas have, you will get some vibration. But if you hold it slightly up and back, it doesn't seem to cause any trouble. And because there's that dead zone directly in front of the glasses, it's not going to pick up the handle of the umbrella. It won't pick up So if you're holding your cell phone very close to you, close to your head, it shouldn't pick that up as well. Although the radar waves will not go through a cell phone, so you have to be careful you're not actually blocking the sensors. And just to be aware of, that also means that as you approach an object, as you get extremely close, so, it would be maybe, let's see again, my conversion, I think 5 inches, 6 inches away from your nose, it's not going to vibrate. So if you approach a wall and stand right up against it, you'll feel that it will stop vibrating. Did that answer your question?
Well, sort of. So if I'm wearing a straw hat, for example, that's pretty closely woven and sort of heavy, that might interfere.
It may interfere to some degree, yes. I think you would have to try it out and see what happens. I'm thinking more of cotton hats with a wide brim.
Yeah, right.
But it could be, it might cause some trouble.
Okay, and then I missed the, big chunk of your presentation. I'm sorry. You said a dead space in the middle. So if I'm walking straight toward a pole, for example,
Mhm.
and it's in the center of my body, would that not vibrate?
It would vibrate. What I was mentioning was a dead space in the immediate zone about 6 inches in front of your face,
Oh, I see.
not not the central part. So if there's a pole in front of you, immediately in front of you, the effect will be that both of the eyewear arms vibrate
I see.
at the expected distance. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Perla.
Nathan, just to follow up on that question, just to clarify for my own confusion, you are referring to if the pole, for example, is 6 inches or less, the glasses won't pick it up. But if it is further out, the 4 or 5 or 8 feet per se, it will pick it up. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So there's a built-in area that is very close to you, so within 6 inches distance from the sensor, that is a dead zone. So that means the glasses will not vibrate for objects that are extremely close to you. But from 6 inches out to 8 feet, that's all detection zone that will cause the glasses to vibrate. So yes, you're correct.
Is
Okay,
there a
that's
detection zone from the ground up? Is there a dead zone at all from the ground up?
Yes, so that's the other important feature that I'd mention around use with a guide dog or cane. The purpose of the glasses, the purpose of the sensor is to help you specifically with those kinds of obstacles that the cane doesn't pick up. So it has a lobe shape. If you think of it sort of a teardrop shape radiating out from the front of the glasses, and it will not cover ground level. So typically you would expect to have good coverage from the top of your head down to your chest or sometimes your belly button if it's something that's quite far out in front of you. So at like an 8-foot distance, for example, it will pick up things like parking barriers, like the barrier that blocks a parking lot, that raises and lowers. Now I'm not coming up with the right word because I haven't been using English for that long.
You're
But
doing great.
no, I'm actually a native English speaker. I have to explain this every time, but I'm a native English speaker. I just have been living in Switzerland and Italy for quite some time now. So there are certain terms that just don't come to me. So you'll have to bear with me. So I hope that's clear too. It's really for upper body obstacles, and if there's something like a traffic pylon or an obstacle that's at ground level, it won't pick it up. In addition, it won't pick up drop-offs. So even if you're looking down at the ground looking for a hole in the ground, I wouldn't say that that's a reliable indication of whether there's a hole or not. This we have to be very clear on. So it's really about obstacle detection and not about solving problems with features and obstacles that are at ground level.
Have you all thought about adding like a camera or a sensor at the bridge to point downwards to help with navigating? Obviously, not to replace a cane or a guide dog, but definitely to give you a little more of an idea about your surroundings.
Yes, so great question. We still have, we have R&D projects that are happening now. And although those are not directly aimed at finding ground level obstacles, we do expect that we'd be able to do more with our device in terms of describing obstacles that are in front of you. So there is a project in the works that puts a camera in there, and it's a camera that will be, let's say, always on in a good sense. So the camera is a very low-powered image sensor. It's not actually taking pictures and sending them to your smartphone like the Meta glasses, but the aim is to be able to do image classification work. So the way I would describe it is you would get the same type of interaction that you would get with the radar sensor, plus you would get more description as a possibility. So you could potentially train this to look out for things that are like a big drop off at a train platform, or a downward set of stairs or something like that. These are all possibilities that we are exploring, and it's by far not a finished product. This is an R&D project that's in the works, and we wouldn't expect to see any results until more than a year from now.
Wonderful. Thank you. Bob, I see your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Nathan, do you envision these as always being like a standalone independent product, or do you ever see any collaboration with any of the other eyeglass, smart glass technologies?
So the answer on my side would be I see both happening. I see on the one hand that we bring something in terms of having a unique design and a unique combination of sensors and feedback that when we've gone and talked to some of these big companies, and it's sort of an ongoing conversation, but I would say we haven't really gotten buy-in yet. I think they would have to be really convinced that this is something worth it for them to look at doing. On the other hand, we do see that if as a small startup company, we grow to the point where people are really interested in what we're doing and the features that we're offering, that we could then go back and talk to one of these companies. So smart glasses are a major item on many of these companies' budgets, let's say. But accessibility or adaptive technology doesn't necessarily take a central stage, although sometimes it can seem like there's a big push in that direction. So again, the Meta glasses, we've seen a huge push in that direction. And I would say from our perspective, it would be in the end interesting to be able to work with those companies to provide this technology and these features within a mainstream platform. I think that would be a win-win for everybody involved.
Well, and I guess I was thinking, I always like to support the small guys versus the large guys. And so if you would partner with some of the smaller market share smart glass folks out there, as opposed to the Metas or the Googles or Apples when those come along, but if you were like with the Echo glasses or some
Sure.
other smaller market um, smart glasses, that then the two of you have a unique standalone product that could really compete with those others then, because you would offer stuff that those other companies don't have.
Sure. Yeah, I totally get it. I understand where you're coming from. And yes, uh, every time, let's put it this way, every time we put ourselves out there at a tech show or a convention where we're seeing a lot of products for vision impairment or disability. We see other companies that are doing interesting things, and there's always an exchange that happens. I would say it's a fairly small world, so by now we've talked to some of the companies that are now on the market, and some of the companies that are just sort of showing their stuff at an early stage. And I think that there's definitely a route towards collaboration, either through the hardware side or through the software side, so that we open up possibilities to provide different services on the same platform. I think one of the realizations we've come to after more than 5 years sort of looking in this area is that the small guys generally cost more, and there's no exception in our case. So when we're looking at coming to the US, I didn't mention our price, but I'll mention it now. We're looking to, so our price to the final consumer would be 1,200 US dollars. And we understand that that's a fairly high price to pay for most people. We also try to find pathways so that some or all of that hardware can get covered through funding programs or reimbursement. But I think from our side, it would be interesting to be able to scale, and it would be interesting to be able to collaborate, and through those means to bring the device to people at a lower cost. So this is really an important strategy going forward.
And one last question: where are they manufactured?
Right now, we're getting them made. The final assembly is happening in Switzerland, and the components are coming from Italy and from China. But the electronics are put together, sealed in the temple, and we do the final assembly and quality check in Switzerland.
So they're well made.
Like a Swiss watch.
That's what I was thinking, Bob. Yeah. Alice, I see that you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say pricing wise, I mean, that doesn't seem, shocking at all. And so I think that was actually encouraging to hear what the pricing was.
Thanks, Allison. I'm very glad to hear that. I know we get a variety of feedback from people, from this is quite expensive to, unaffordable for me. to, okay, I can see using this, it comes with a 2-year warranty. So we're really aiming to, provide you with something that's robust. The other thing that I would mention is we try to come at you with a repairable product. So if you break the front of the frame, or if you break any of the individual arms, you can actually replace those parts individually. So it's 3 pieces that screw together. You can also change the length of the temple tip and replace the silicone on the temple tip as well. So we try to make it as, let's say, as approachable as we can.
Yeah, that's great.
Are there a pair of these in San Jose that we can try?
Yes, that's a good question. There is a pair in the Bay Area, and I can arrange for a demo. If you would like to try them yourselves, I can definitely arrange for that. And I would suggest maybe doing an email exchange so that that's a possibility. The other thing is I've just learned that I will be back in the Bay Area in the second and third, nope. Yes, the second and third weeks of September. I will personally be there. So there are a couple of possibilities to try them, either with or without me.
Will you be at our demo day? Are you one of the folks there?
My trip goes up until the 17th. So I'm thinking about extending it,
Yeah, that
but
would be
I don't have a
wonderful.
definitive. Yeah, I
Be
know.
great to have you. Alice, did you still have a question? I just double checking.
Yeah, no, sorry about that.
All good, absolutely. Um, does anyone else have any other questions for Nathan here? Wonderful. Great questions have been asked and great presentation, Nathan. Again, just a wonderful product. Thank you for doing this for our community. I do have one question actually that just came up, more of a personal question, but it is what intrigued you to focus on something like this? And I apologize if you had answered this already, but with the 2 presentations that I've heard, I didn't catch that. So what brought you to this community?
So I guess there's 2 aspects. One is that I would be a member of the team that entered after the founding idea. So it was not my idea to come up with this product. That said, it was my idea to begin to work with the company fairly early on and take it through its early stages. So early stages in design and funding. I'm a social scientist by background, and although I haven't worked directly in this field, my projects have always been focused on impact. So I was previously working in something completely different. So land use planning and international development. But sort of some of the same, let's say, motivations are there. So it's a company that's there for profit. So this is the first time that I've been part of let's say, a founding team for a company that is profit motivated, which is normal in the startup world and the technology world. But at the same time, I bring a skill set which is more which is geared towards survival and success of projects with impact, whether social impact, environmental impact, and so this sort of became a fit over time. It's not something that I immediately envisioned dedicating so much of my thought and life resources into. but it over time has become a passion project for me.
And then, of course, meeting all of us wonderful visually impaired folks. I'm sure that you're just in it now because your heart.
It's a very cool community to work with. So I'm very appreciative of all the meetings that I've had and all the feedback that I've had, both positive and negative. I'm always happy to get new insights, and sometimes I've had my ideas completely flipped around 180 degrees. It's been, a pleasure over time working closely with people on the development. I'm sort of sometimes I'm a bit of a solitary guy, so I sort of just disappear behind a computer screen or a lab bench for a bit. But then I've also had these wonderful experiences. For example, I was just at the NFP convention in Austin earlier in July, and I think I had 300 or 400 people come by and try the glasses out. So it was just rapid fire.
I love that. That's so wonderful. Does anyone have any other questions for Nathan before we close out the meeting? Nathan, we so appreciate the work that you're doing. And it's been wonderful to connect with you again. And I'm grateful that Vista and Lighthouse Tech are continuing to build that relationship. And we're excited to see where the Tami glasses go. And we're grateful for what they do just as they are. So thank you again for presenting today. And that'll end today's Tech It Out. Thank you everyone for
Thank
joining
you
us.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan.
all.
Thank you,
A
John.
real pleasure.
Thank you.